Hello, Sad Nation. This week is National Teen Driver Safety Week, a time dedicated to spreading the word and seeking solutions to prevent teen injuries and fatalities on our roadways. Did you know that vehicle crashes continue to be a leading cause of death for teens? For this reason, we're thrilled to have you join us for our Agents of Change series, presented by State Farm and SAD. As young people learn to drive, we want to make sure that both teens and parents are equipped with the tips and knowledge they need to make it from point A to point B safely. We're thrilled to have an all-star panel with us today. Please join me in welcoming our Agents of Change. First up, we have Alan from California. Chelsea is here from Florida. Lindsay from Pennsylvania. And last but not least, we have Adela from Washington. Welcome, everyone. In this episode, we're discussing insurance. We all know we need it, but beyond that, many of us still ask ourselves, what insurance should I get? Luckily, we've got a team of experts here with us today. Alan, let's begin the explanation with you.
Well, hi, Sad Nation. I'd say you're in the right place to learn about this topic today. Learning to drive and buying your first vehicle can be exciting and a little scary. The same goes with getting car insurance for the first time. There's a responsibility deciding what coverages and deductibles you want and need. The goal of this conversation today is to help you feel well informed about what insurance is and how it works.
Absolutely. If you're getting insurance for the first time, chances are you're on your parents' or your caregiver's policy. As you go through this process, make sure to ask questions and learn everything you can about the process of obtaining insurance and using your insurance if you ever need to. If you have the opportunity, sit down with your parent or caregiver's agent so you can just soak up all that information so you're fully prepared when you go to purchase car insurance for the first time. The first thing you'll need to understand about insurance is that there are a variety of factors that can influence coverage and cost. Typically, the top three are going to be age, marital status, and home ownership. Also, the kind of coverage and deductibles that you choose should an accident occur may also determine the policy and parameters. There are several different coverages to choose from. Isn't that right, Lindsay?
Yes, available coverage typically includes options such as liability, uninsured motorist coverage, collision, and comprehensive. There are some rules you have to follow in choosing coverage as well. If you have a loan on your vehicle or a lease on your vehicle, they may have some requirements on how much coverage you have to carry. Also, each state has a minimum requirement and may have some different options to choose from. I'm in Pennsylvania, and in our state, property damage limit is only $5,000. It's so important to take the time to learn about what coverage makes sense for you and not just choose the coverage based on minimum requirements. Think of it this way. If you only had a $5,000 property damage limit and a BMW in front of you stopped fast, causing you to hit them from behind, you likely would be held at fault for this accident. If the resulting damage was high and the BMW was totaled, say it was worth $50,000 and your insurance still only would pay $5,000, that will leave you in a not very good situation. This is why it's important to understand how your coverage works and know what kind of out-of-pocket you might face after an accident, even with insurance, such as your deductibles.
We've mentioned the term deductible a couple times now. So when talking about insurance, you also need to know and understand what a deductible is. Put simply, a deductible is an amount that you agree to pay up when you make an insurance claim, while the insurance company would pay the difference up to the coverage limits, of course. When you're choosing your car, make sure that you understand the deductible and how much you're going to be willing to pay. So generally, a higher deductible, lower the monthly premium. A lower deductible, higher the monthly premium. It really comes down to what you feel comfortable with.
This is great information for parents and teens both. Let's clarify, what exactly is the difference between comprehensive and collision insurance?
Great question, Bailey. Keep in mind, the more miles you drive in a year, the higher the chances of a collision, regardless of how safe a driver you are. Collision coverage helps pay for the loss or damage from a crash to a covered vehicle caused by collision with another vehicle or collision with another object, and usually requires a deductible. On the other hand, Comprehensive coverage helps pay for the loss of or damage to an uninsured covered vehicle that isn't caused by a collision or a vehicle rollover. Examples of this type of damage or loss include fire, wind, hail, flood, vandalism, theft, or hitting an animal. When you have this coverage on your auto insurance, it usually requires a deductible, but certain policies may not have one. Again, what you pay in these instances is all dependent on the initial type of insurance you choose.
CSAD Nation, I told you we brought in the true experts. Chelsea, would you mind explaining to us what liability insurance is?
Absolutely. So, liability insurance helps pay for the cost of the other driver's property or their injuries if you're determined at fault in the accident. Your company will pay for the property damage and injuries up to the covered limit. So, this is why it's so important to make sure that you have enough coverage there to take care of the other person's injuries and their property damage. As Lindsay was mentioning, most states have a fairly low liability minimum limit. In the state of Florida, our minimum property damage liability limit is only $10,000. So if you do hit that BMW, you're still up for $40,000 that the other party can sue you for, and that can be taken from your assets or even your future wages that can be garnished. So property damage coverage pays for the damage done to the other person's property, such as their vehicle or even their mailbox. I've seen that happen. And then bodily injury liability will pay for injuries to the other party. So again, you just want to make sure that you have enough coverage there so that if you do have a claim, your coverage will be enough to pay for the cost associated with the injuries or the damage for which you're legally liable.
Now, there's also uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage. What does this coverage entail, Lindsay?
I'll start with uninsured motorist coverage. Essentially, this coverage will pay for damages if you or another person is injured in a crash caused by a driver who does not have that liability coverage that Chelsea just explained. Underinsured motorist coverage pays for damages if you or another person is injured in a crash caused by another driver who's considered to be underinsured as defined by the policy. At the time of purchasing auto insurance, we find many people want low cost. At the time of an accident, everybody wants the best coverage. By including uninsured and underinsured on your policy, you can protect yourself, not knowing if the other drivers that are on the road with you have enough coverage. Now, all this information might be overwhelming right now, but keep in mind, it's important for you to simply know the options out there so you can make a well-informed decision.
Thanks for that reminder, Lindsay. Exactly. Today's conversation is all about education and becoming familiar with the concept of insurance. I'd also like to note that you can include some additional forms of coverage to your policy, such as roadside assistance. Again, it's important to talk to the agent providing you with insurance to explore all of the available options on the table. Adela, now that we know what our insurance options are, what should new drivers and their parents have ready when they come to speak to an agent to establish their own car insurance?
Yeah, when you're ready to establish your own car insurance, you'll need to have a valid driver's license, your bank account information, vehicle details, and then that long VIN number. Also, the loan information of the vehicle if it's financed. If you're prepared, the process will go smoothly. As an insurance agent, one of my pro tips is to do an annual insurance review. There's a lot of things that can change, especially as you age. You might need to do different coverages, or look for different, sorry, let me start over again. Okay. When you're ready to establish your car insurance, you'll need a valid driver's license, the vehicle details, your bank account information, including that long VIN number, and also any other information if you got a loan, if it's financed. So if you're prepared, the process will go a lot more smoothly. As an insurance agent, a pro tip that I can give is to schedule an insurance review with your agent annually to make sure that if you need to make any changes or your needs change, then we can get that taken care of you. So again, to get the best insurance possible, schedule that annual insurance review.
Wow, that was a lot of information to take in today. As always, panelists, your expertise is so appreciated. As we wrap up, I'd love for you to share one piece of advice about insurance that you would give to teen drivers and their parents.
Bailey, one thing I would say is having a relationship with a local agent and his staff could be a key factor in making things a lot easier for everybody, especially when the unexpected happens. So, as a local agent in the community, my staff and I are dedicated to assisting everyone with things that are unexpected on daily basis. So, my advice, leverage your agent and staff.
Absolutely, I second that. My tip would be to make sure you keep up your grades. In most states, if you have at least a 3.0 GPA or better, you can get a significant discount on your car insurance. And I think parents and teachers and teen drivers all around can be appreciative of you keeping up your grades. So make sure you get good grades so that you can get a discount on your car insurance.
Completely agree with both of you on those great tips. One thing I would like to mention is if you're thinking of buying your first car or at any point of buying a vehicle, reaching out to your agent ahead of time and getting some rates on different vehicles. A lot of times we find, maybe a first time insurance or car buyer is at the dealership ready to purchase their car, realize they need car insurance, and are very surprised of what their rates end up with a certain car. So being prepared by having an idea of what the insurance is going to cost and what coverages you might have to carry based on, are you buying a brand new car and needing to lease it or have a loan, compared to an older car where you may not need to have certain requirements, is very helpful in helping you make car buying decisions as well.
I'm with you, Lindsay. If you're like my son who wants a Subaru WRX, definitely call your insurance agent ahead of time. You will be surprised at the rate. One of my tips is at the time of a claim, make sure you get the information of the person that hit you or exchange information, whether you were at fault or not. Call the police. Don't be intimidated just because you're a young driver. Their license plate number, a picture of the damages, and again, exchange that insurance information.
Great tips all around, agents. I again want to thank our esteemed panel from State Farm and, of course, USAD Nation, our followers, for helping us share the rules of the road as we observe National Teen Driver Safety Week. That's all the time we have for now. Be safe every trip, every time.